What's up, motherfuckers and motherfuckettes? We are the Thralls of Metal. I am Shredlord here.
Necrotic Nick.
And we are here to bring you one of our favorite Canadian exports, thrash legends, Annihilator.
These guys have been around since 1984. This is Jeff Waters' project. He has been the sole remaining member in this all throughout the band's run. This is their 17th full-length album. And as far as lineups go, the longest tenured member, outside of Jeff Waters, of course, has only been there since 2015, which is his other guitarist. The other members have just only been there since, I believe, last year. So, again, another fresh lineup for these guys, and another fresh album. This was all mixed, produced, and edited by Jeff Waters, too. So, he was firmly at the helm of all of this.
Saved himself, had a little bit of a coupon or a Groupon on the recording budget, decided to cash it in.
I mean, he's been doing this since 1984. I'm pretty sure he knows.
He knows what sound he wants.
So opens up with Armed to the Teeth, and it's pretty much the first single I heard, and it sounds like Megadeth, right away.
Hardcore. Well, what'd you say? Hello, me. It's the Canadian me.
100%. Dude, and that is not just vocally, but musically. In terms of the production, which I think the production's pretty solid, maybe a little compressed, but the guitar tone is really crunchy, and I really dug that. But Jeff Waters has been doing vocals, I believe, since 2015, at least took over again. And his intonation, his style of vocals is very, very similar to Dave Mustaine. Almost spot on.
Vocal cadences, register,
the
grit he's trying to put in there now. Not that that's a bad thing.
Not a bad thing. It's just very, very noticeable. It's very out front. But yeah, a lot of this album definitely sounds like Megadeth, but also has notes of Exodus. There's definitely some songs here that remind me of Overkill.
There's a couple spots, dare I say, that even sound like Alice in Hell in times.
A little bit.
Later on, some of the creepy clean stuff really is throwback.
Big issue though with this album are some really cringeworthy lyrics. And that really, all right, Armed to the Teeth, decent single. It's kind of a good pace setter. It really wasn't the strongest song I heard on here, but decent. Next track, The Attitude, well, I think the tempo of it shifts. It's much faster. My God, the lyrics are cringy. And I generally don't bring up lyrics because most of the time I'm reviewing a lot of death metal. Lyrics are just, whatever you're growing them. But when you can understand them, and they're very out front in the mix, they they become an issue if they're really cringy. And, well, hey, what'd you think of that chorus?
Oh my God, it cringed every time. Fuck your shitty attitude or whatever. Oh, it's come on, man. It was the entire crate of Cheese Whiz.
Oh my God. And it sucks because I like the song for the most part. I really like the slower opening of the song. It almost has a blackened tinge to it, which honestly isn't a thing that pops up in Annihilator at all. There were some interesting songwriting ideas in this song. But when you add these lyrics, which the music seems mature while the lyrics seem kind of juvenile. And I was like, man,
it takes away from it for sure.
It definitely does. And now one we definitely have to bring up is another single, Psycho Ward. This, I know, we have to bring it up. It was a single. I feel like we got to bring it up. This is the second one I heard, and he told me about it. I was like, oh, well, you liked Armed to the Teeth. Have you checked out Psycho Ward yet? I'm like, no. And then I did. And, okay, this is pure cheese once again.
The chain gang vocals.
Oh. It just doesn't really work. Jeff Waters has an interesting ability to really kind of work in just flat-out rock riffs and thrash metal.
They sound great.
Yeah, they sound great. I mean, it kind of gives you that throwback to bands like Skid Row or even some heavier hair metal bands. But I like how it integrates with the thrash metal too. It stays fresh and energetic. But this song just comes across as really just dialing it in, unfortunately. And what really sucks is there's an excellent lead on this.
Yes.
I think one of the best leads on the album. I think he did an awesome job here. There's some really cool melodies, but it's kind of lost in just this kind of sea of blandness on this song in particular.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite vocally. That's honestly, as we go on the songs and talk about them a little bit more, vocally is where some really good songs got knocked down a peg or two just because of that.
Yeah. And I mean, it just becomes very labored in the whole thing that, he sounds so much like Dave Mustaine. It's almost like kind of an imitation.
I'm sure as your voice gets older and you can't do some of the things you want to do, you got to go for that lower gravelly register, what's comfortable. It's not even that the vocals for me, as far as like sounding more like Dave Mustaine, it's like how you put it before. It's just, it seems very juvenile in the lyrics. Like the music is so badass, and there's the bass player is really good. It's got great tone. They do some syncopated stops where the bass is just shining through, busting a quick lead.
Yeah, nice little love for the bassist on there.
Yeah, the instrumentation was great, but I really feel like the more I listen to the lyrics, the juvenileness of it just kind of, or maybe not juvenile, but
in some cases, I'd say juvenile is right, because you get like some tonal shifts here. Like, I mean, all right, later on in the album, you get a song called Lip Service, which we're definitely going to talk about. But you have songs like I Am Warfare, and that sounds far more serious. The subject matter is a bit darker. And honestly, I think this is a standout in the album. Like, this is the more technical side of Jeff Waters in terms of the writing. There is some really interesting technical riffing on here, awesome lead trade-offs, very tempos. The song is structured very differently. Honestly, this could have fit in on a Revocation album, honestly. Like, it was really solid. It turned out being one of my favorite ones on here.
I concur.
It almost has like a death thrash feel.
Yeah.
And like, remind me of Possessed, but I mean, honestly, Possessed still kind of did it a little bit better. But again, tonal shifts is kind of a big thing, and the next track, Out With The Garbage, is just pretty much like kind of a weird breakup song, or I don't know, like it's kind of hard to gauge, and it's like he's just throwing people in the garbage. I don't know if it was like someone he loved or something. It's really kind of hard to tell. And again, I generally don't bring up lyrics because most of the time they're just growled, and it's just the cadence mostly that follows it.
But you hear them, and then you can't help but process them after you hear them and go, what?
But again, I'm torn because the music on this one and the next one too, Dressed Up for Evil, which I don't know what that means, but anyway, they both kind of have that overkill kind of punky thrash feel to it, and again, a really cool collection of awesome riffs again. Jeff Waters is never short on that. There's always killer riffs, there's always killer solos. It's just how they're placed together is sometimes my issue.
Another thing about this album is sometimes there's some very strange parts thrown in out of nowhere. One Wrong Move has a section there which totally just, all heaviness drops.
Yep.
It goes borderline Pink Floyd-ish.
I mean, when I listen to it, I have here in my notes, it says David Gilmour. And that's exactly what I got. And it's, again, such a shift. Like, it's abrupt. There's no real lead into the song. You're not even alluding to, like, we're going to get soft here. It honestly sounded like the start of another song. Like, this was an idea from a separate song kind of just spliced in here. And it just didn't fit. Like, it was really jarring. But again, there was still some really solid songwriting on this song, too. And another one, Riot, which I liked, was the shortest song on there, and it was just almost kind of a Lamb of God kind of stomp of a song. Fun, cool collection of riffs. That one actually probably one of the best ones on here in terms of that. It just worked as a solid track. But we weren't done with the cheese. As I brought up before, there's a song called Lip Service on here.
Which we're pretty sure is about cunnilingus.
It's definitely about eating pussy. And
gosh.
Yep. And it's all right. Bands can write shit about whatever they want. That's cool. There is something particularly weird about hearing a 50-year-old man talk about eating pussy in a song, and it's done in the Dave Mustaine kind of, hello, pussy, meet my tongue, or whatever,
Honey-coated peaches.
What's that line?
It's like your stepdad's getting drunk at the family picnic and starts talking about your mom in front of you. You're like,
That was the highest level of cringe on there. And there's, like, a really cool bridge on it that actually kind of reminded me a lot of Tornado of Souls. There's a part on there that was like, dude, it's really fucking close. But I could not get past the level of cringe. Like, dude, I was, like, listening to this and going, ugh.
Open wide. Or whatever the hell he says every time.
It was so bad. And again, that's one of the issues with this album is the tone goes from me, like, yeah, fucking thrash metal, like, you want to hear me talk about eating pussy? And
yeah, man, when's Buck Cherry gonna come on and do a remix of Crazy Bitch with Annihilator? That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh my god, dude, it was so difficult to listen to be honest. Like, it was rough. But again, I liked a good chunk of this as far as music. It was the lyrics that was the hardest part to get past.
The lyrics took away from the album, but the album was stellar otherwise, aside from maybe a few parts that didn't flow maybe is what I thought they should have flowed.
In terms of like piecing it together, like you have the riffs, it's just piecing it together, and maybe get someone else to write the lyrics, like anyone else. So overall, I'm going to give this 3 stars. I like the music, and those 3 stars are predominantly for the music. I think the production on here is awesome. The songwriting is pretty solid. Great riffs. There are a lot of catchy, memorable riffs on here, and I've listened to it multiple times now. Lyrics and the delivery, that really knocked it down. That's probably why there are 2 extra stars just chopped right the fuck off my review.
I'm going to go ahead and say 3.5. And the reason is I think for as many lineup changes as they've had, this lineup change is particularly strong on all levels. Production was pretty good. The musicianship was really, really, really killer. Some incredible Jeff Waters stuff. I really want to hear what they do next. I'm excited for, I don't know, what is it, number 18 or whatever it ends up being. But I really, 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 really hope that the lyrics and the vocals can be a little bit different next time around, because for the 3rd time, I feel like they really took away from the music at times.
Yeah, it really did.
But I say 3.5. It's a fun listen. I'm actually curious to see if I could find an instrumental version of it just to kind of hear the instrumentation a little bit better. I like doing that with some albums like Crack the Sky or like Colors, listen to that stuff without any vocals, just to kind of hear every little nuance. So
Jeff rules. Jeff fucking rules. He's the heart and soul of that band. He's a
awesome goddamn Canadian treasure.
Dude, he is. Legit.
And a bona fide true guitar hero. He's a badass.
100%.
Anyway, if you like this review, or if you even halfway like this review, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and a subscribe, because we do shit like this all the fucking time.
Word.
So on behalf of the Thralls of Metal, we wish you adieu and say peace the fuck out.